Mga kada, madalas nating madinig ang mga salitang music copyright both on mainstream and social media.
Siyempre, itong nagbibigay proteksyon sa mga gumagawa ng original songs and music para hindi ito basta-basta gamitin ng iba.
Pero ang tanong, ano ba ang eksaktong batas na nakakasaklaw sa music copyright?
At ano naman ang mga parusa at penalty para sa mga taong lalabag dito?
Kaya naman ngayong umaga, nag-imbita po kami ng representative mula sa Filipino Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers or PhilSCAP para ipaliwanag sa atin kung ano ba ang mga kailangan nating malaman tungkol sa music copyright.
Please welcome to Kada Umaga, Attorney Ivan Victor Mendez. Hi, Attorney.
Hi. Good morning, Kada. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Attorney Ivan. Okay, attention everyone na lahat naman tayo gumagamit ng music kung saan-saan. Kaya please explain to them kung anong ibig sabihin ng music copyright at ano ba ang pangunahing batas na nagbibigay protection dito.
Okay. So unang-una, ano nga ba yung copyright? Ito ay isang form ng intellectual property right. So ito ay karapatan na binibigay sa mga manlilikha. So in this case, music copyright, manlilikha ng musical compositions. Ang musical compositions, it can be with words, it can be without words. Both pareho po itong protected ng copyright under our law. So ang types ng copyright, ang copyright po hindi lang iisa. We call this usually bundle of rights. So in our intellectual property code, it's 7. So meron po kayong karapatan, kung kayo po ay manlilikha ng musical composition, may karapatan kayo na i-control or authorize or to prevent ang pag-reproduce ng mga likha nyo or obra, to publicly display, publicly perform, distribute, rent out, and also to communicate to the public. So ito pong hiwa-hiwalay na economic rights na to, pwede nyo po itong i-license separately or completely.
Or in a bundle, like you said.
Or in a bundle.
Oo. Attorney Ivan, ang nagmamay-ari ng copyright is who? The one who wrote the song? Can you explain this to us? Oo.
Of course. Okay. So, yung straightforward answer, obviously, is kung sino yung gumawa. But meron tayo, ngayong mga panahon, there's also collaborations, there are co-writers.
Yeah.
So, there will also be a share. Kung sino man, kung ilan yung mga creators ng work, kung meron mang publisher yung work, it will depend on the agreement as well. So, naturally, kung walang rules, wala silang pinagkasunduan, under our law, usually, it's gonna be governed by co-ownership. So, it will be divided equally dun sa mga co-writers.
Okay. How about yung mga AI ngayon? Because AI can create songs just by inputting details and kung ano man gusto mo, tapos siya na maglalapat in the musical style that you like or genre.
That's right. So actually, that's a very interesting and maybe controversial topic in music right now. Pero ang consensus mostly ng mga iba't ibang territories at iba't ibang bansa, AI, yung generative AI purely created by a machine is not protected by copyright.
Okay.
Okay. Bakit naman po mahalaga itong batas na to? What is it trying to prevent?
Okay. So, I think it's important both in what it is trying to prevent and what it is trying to promote. So, it's there, statutory right po to give incentive to creators. So, it's there so you have the opportunity to earn from it because music creation is also labor. So, you also should have the opportunity to negotiate for it and also be paid if your work is being used.
You were talking about bundles po, di ba?
Yes.
There's different bundles. Ano po yung mga parte ng bundles na ito? Is it just the lyrics? Is it the sound? What if an artist naman po uses the sound but changes up the lyrics? Is that copyright?
Halimbawa yung mga parodies.
Yes.
Is that allowed, Attorney Ivan, without the express permission of the one who created it in the first place?
Okay, so I'll answer first yung parody question. Yung parody, there have been rulings already abroad that says that you don't need permission for parody because it is a form of transformative use.
Okay.
So, it's a form of fair use because kung kunyari merong isang musical work na gusto mong bigyan ng commentary by changing the lyrics, commenting on that same work, necessarily have to use the work. Kailangan mo talaga siyang gamitin if you're gonna parody it. So, meron ng mga rulings abroad na tinatawag ito na transformative use. So, parody would not necessarily require permission. But I think Gia's question also, several bundles siya, no? So, meron ding instances na hindi siya parody, pero gagamitin mo yung ibang components ng song. Let's say, maybe the most recent...
In a jingle.
In a jingle, for example, you're using the music, but to promote a person, a candidate, you want to change the lyrics, this is covered by copyright because this is not fair use. So you need a modification or adaptation license because you're changing the lyrics, but you're also banking on the goodwill of the song to promote you.
Alam ko naman curious na ang lahat natin ng mga kada. What about on social media? Pag ginagamit po ang mga songs para sa reels or whatever, ano po yung
Whatever
pwede
post,
nilang gamitin?
Yeah, so that's a good question and marami tong usage na to the past few years, no? So, yung first rule talaga is if you don't have permission to use a work, you need to get a license. So, it will vary depending on the social media. Sometimes, some platforms, yung ibang platform po, sila na po minsan ang nag-a-approach sa mga rights holders to get a license. Pero since hindi naman po usually visible kasi sa mga users yung extent ng license, it's always still good measure, parang good practice to make sure na may license ka before you cover a song, before you earn from a song. Otherwise, yung rights holders po yung ahabol sa inyo through takedowns or can actually file a case kung
Minumute nila kapag...
they have that option.
Pero, Attorney Ivan, does it have anything to do with the fact that ito'y pinagkakakitaan mo at hindi mo to to pinagkakakitaan? Kasi parang na notice ko, if you use it on Instagram, where here in this country, you won't necessarily make money off it. You're allowed to do it. Pero sa YouTube kasi, where you can monetize it, talagang matindi yung mga copyright rules nila. Mafa-flag ka, pwedeng tanggalin completely yung
Kahit ilang segundo
YouTube
lang
account mo.
That's right. Okay, so that's a good question. So, yung earlier nga nasabi ko po, no, yung license po kasi ng platforms, it's also dependent on the platform, gaano siya ka-extensive.
Yes.
Typically, and I'm not saying all of the platforms do this, usually, ang coverage lang po niya ay non-commercial use.
Okay.
So, pag pumunta na kayo sa commercial use or mag-fall siya sa paggamit nyo na kayo na yung kumikita dun sa kanta, then that might already breach the license at pwede nang i-take down and ma-strike yung account.
Okay. Siguro we should give our Kada an idea, attorney, kung paano ba mag-apply for permission. Is it difficult? Kasi,
How long's the process?
can they just do it online? bago natin puntahan yung mga penalties.
Yes. Okay. So, actually, yun nga yung actual logical question, di ba? Paano nga ba mag-license? So, in PhilSCAP, maybe I'll just explain what we do. So, we license public performance and communication to the public. So, we license yung pagpapatugtog sa public events and public establishments like restaurants, hotels, and also broadcast and also streaming.
Yeah.
So, we can, if you do want to get those types of licenses, you can easily reach us through licensing at philscap.com.ph. Our licensing executives will tell you, will ask necessary information from you. May application form lang po yun. And then, it will just be a matter of making an assessment and then how much you're going to pay depending on the use. So, if meron po kayong ibang usage like reproduction, covers, we can also help. PhilSCAP can also help locate the copyright holder for you. So we do have a database. So sometimes we can check the publishers, yung music publishers po na nagko-control ng reproduction right, adaptation right, and we can connect you to them so that it will be easy for you to get the license that you
So
require.
that goes internationally po. So if I want to use an American song, we can go to you, tapos tutulungan niyo naman po kami na mahanap yung producer nun.
Yes. So, for our repertoire, tawag po natin doon repertoire, no? So, yung repertoire po namin, since we have affiliates in 55 countries and counting, our license already covers foreign works. But for the reproduction part, we can get you, we can try to connect you dun sa mga sub-publishers dito sa Philippines that actually administer the foreign works with respect to reproduction, adaptation, and the like.
Attorney Ivan, how much usually? Can you just give us an idea? Mahal ba? Kasi we have no
okay.
clue whatsoever. Magkano ba
A license.
And is it just a single use? Or-
Okay. So yung license, it will really depend because there are different types of categories. But just to give you like an idea of how much it will be, if we're talking about public performance in food chains, for example, it will just cost siguro like a cup of coffee if you compute it on a per day basis. If you divide the annual fee for like 365 days, so it's not that expensive.
So it's
actually.
annual talaga.
Yes.
So
the
sometimes
usual.
you can just get a
We don't usually issue a daily license. but
permission to use everything in
Yes,
PhilScap's
it's a blanket.
repertoire.
Oh.
Yun.
So blanket na po siya. It's like a buffet. You can actually play any foreign work, musical, local work that's in our repertoire for the cost of siguro nga just a usual cup of coffee if you divide it in 365.
So annual pala to? Annual.
Yes. Usually we do annual license fees.
So malamang yung mga buskers na nakikita namin sa mga malls, naka-PhilScap membership yung mga yon.
If they are composers, if they are composers, they can apply as members.
What if they're covering songs of other artists?
If they are performing in a place, let's say common areas in a particular establishment that has a license with us, then those are covered.
Ayun, ganun pala yun. Eh ano naman ang parusa, Attorney Ivan? Hala.
Okay, so ano
Buti
nga
sana
ba-
kung ma-mute lang kayo. Meron ba
Or
tong...
ma-delete yung video.
Oo.
Pero baka...
May demanda ba to?
Unfortunately, yes. And there is actions that we call copyright infringement. Under sa Intellectual Property Code natin, pwede po kayong mag-fine from 50,000 to 1.5 million. And you can even be imprisoned for 1 year to 9 years. Depending on how many times you repeated kung yung infringement. Yeah.
Totoo po ba na if you just use a certain length, hindi na to mafa-flag ng for copyright infringement?
I would say no.
No.
Because there's really no regulation that, wala naman po tayong regulation sa batas na may quantity ng dapat nyong magamit before maging copyright infringement. So I would say na you still have to be very careful and kahit gaano kaikli yan, best to approach the rights holder to make sure. Because pwede kasing yung 7 seconds or that portion na produce mo is actually the most memorable part of the song. It doesn't necessarily mean na hindi kayo, you're not affecting yung market ng song.
Okay. Paano naman po kung yung may-ari ng kanta ay hindi na malocate? Let's say namatay na or it's been years, decades since they produced the song.
Since they produce, yes. So meron po tayo sa batas na tinatawag na term of protection. So lahat naman po ng creative works, hindi naman po forever yung yung sakop nila. Generally, ang work naman po is protected only for the life of the author and 50 years after the death. And then after po nung portion na yon, then they will fall sa tawag po natin public domain and then pwede na po siyang gamitin ng public.
What are some examples aside from happy birthday? Alam ko naman happy birthday.
Yeah, actually. So, mahirap kasi siyang narrow down. But I think one good thing about yung Intellectual Property Office natin ngayon, they are trying to actually create a public domain registry. So, you can, if you want to make sure na public domain yung kanta, you can approach the Bureau of Copyright and Related Rights ng Intellectual Property Office if they do have information kung public domain na po yung kanta.
Tapos, Attorney Ivan, how about, sometimes nandito kami sa show, biglang napakanta kami for one reason or another, na a cappella lang naman, tapos parang, is that still,
Is that
are we liable? Kung hindi namin to napaalam ahead of time, or if it's not part of our of PhilSCAP, could we get liable for that?
If depends on the usage, kung public performance and if you have a license for PhilSCAP covered siya.
Oo.
But if you are going to reproduce it, meaning you're gonna record it and then play it again on another date, sometimes kailangan mo na ng reproduction license.
Ayun. Kaya pala. So, bawal na tayo magkakanta dito.
Yes. Buti na lang, Mama P.
It also, siguro, qualify ko rin yun, no? So there is also a qualification sa batas na tinatawag na fair use. Kung minsan kasi, if you're part of mass media, you're reporting news, you provide commentary on particular creative works, syempre, minsan kailangan mo talagang kantahin or patugtugin yung kanta, no? Para makapag-comment ka. So that will fall under exceptional circumstances. Limitation naman po yun on copyright. And if you have an argument na fair use naman siya, it's for purposes of educational purposes, hindi naman substantial amount nung kanta yung ginamit for that particular use, then you can also, on a case-by-case basis, pwede rin naman pong i-argue na fair use sometimes.
And attorney, gaano katagal yung proseso? Kunwari, kailangan ko na yung kanta bukas. Ma-approve ba yun agad or kailangan talaga planado yung pagka-approve?
Well, generally naman, it could be very quick. Our licensing executives naman would understand PhilSCAP has been in the industry for quite a while. So, alam naman namin yung how quickly sometimes you need to get a license. So, kung kaya nyo naman po i-communicate kung gaano ka-urgent yung pag-use to our department, I'm sure they can find a way to actually accommodate.
Okay. At saka, yung mga artists themselves get the royalties eventually. Ganun
They
ba yun?
do. So,
Okay.
yes.
So, all the bayads for copyright all end up with the owners of the songs. Ganun po ba yun?
So, meron pong reporting process kami. So, mga licensees. So, kung establishments po kayo, you would be familiar with the best effort basis na naman pag-report. So, if ma-report po na pinatugtog sa sa establishments nyo yung kanta, then we can easily triangulate, locate the metadata for that. And then kung yung party po na nag-compose nun is a member, then they will get a portion nung na yun.
Attorney, napansin ko minsan pag nagpo-post ako ng videos na may kanta na medyo kilala, may nakalagay na this is banned in certain countries or hindi mapapakinggan in certain countries. Is that dependent sa author of the song or sa mga nagla-license?
It depends on both because license po namin, for example, PhilSCAP, we license on a territorial basis. It's for Philippines. So, we can license Philippines, but not necessarily that we can license another territory outside Southeast Asia, for example. So if, I don't know, depends on the platform kung ang decision nila is not to geo-lock certain usages, they can do that. That's their prerogative naman po.
Okay.
So, yun. So they can either get a license for one territory, pero not another.
Yeah. Okay. Ako recently, that just happened to me. Parang they told me that I couldn't use this song that I use cannot be heard in certain regions. And then I appealed it. Tapos a couple of days ago, sinabi na nanalo daw ako sa appeal.
Wow.
So I'm like, thanks.
Congratulations.
Pero sa mga private parties namin, attorney, wala namang problema to just play any music we...
Oh, okay.
As long as it's a private
If it's a private event. So, that's a good question, Pia. Kasi yung definition kasi ng public performance in our law, hindi naman siya quantitative. So, it will become public if yung pwedeng makapakinig ng performance is your family or family's close social acquaintances. So, if yun lang yung audience ng performance, then it will be considered a private event.
Okay.
So, pero pag beyond that na,
Like a
beyond
corporate
family,
event.
if it becomes a corporate event, which is not necessarily family or close social acquaintance ng family, you can actually also say that's public performance that may require a license.
Yung mga kapitbahay namin na video, okay, pwede ba? May permiso ba kayo?
Kung depende. So, you need to make assessment. Private ba to? Family ba to? Social
Gagamitin ko na
acquaintance.
sana,
Lahat sa
attorney,
barangay pamilya.
para manahimik na sila. Pero attorney, maraming salamat for explaining all of this to us. At sana ay dahil dito mas maging maingat tayo in using other people's work. Kasi after all, di ba, katang-isip nila yan. Kaya kailangan mabigyan sila talaga ng protection for doing that. Any last messages for our Kadas regarding the use of music?
Oh, sure. First of all, you're welcome and it's my pleasure to be here. For all of those na yung mga interested to properly use musical works, you can easily reach PhilSCAP through licensing at philscap.com.ph. Kung meron kayong gustong patugtugin or gusto nyo malocate yung rights holder, then our executives will easily respond to you and accommodate your request.
Yes, kaya ikaw, Gianna, bago ka mag-konserto, yung
Yes,
setlist
yes,
mo, pa-approve mo na kay
Yes,
Attorney
kay
Ivan.
attorney. Kailangan ko yan, attorney. Actually, marami sa atin ay kailangan talaga yan dahil ginagamit nga natin ang music, ang works ng iba. Para sa sarili natin, di natin alam yung mga limits. So I think very helpful yung mga sinabi mo, attorney. So we know.
Thank you, Attorney Ivan. Ang paggamit po ng gawa ng iba ng walang paalam, tulad ng musika, ay hindi lang po paglabag sa kanilang karapatan. Ito po ay halimbawa rin ng kawalan ng respeto sa isang tao at ang kanyang gawa.
Kaya gawin po natin ang tama, sumunod tayo sa batas at igalang natin ang orihinal na gawa ng ating kapwa. Maraming salamat ulit, attorney.
You're welcome.
Let's get together. Sunday 25. Sunday 25.